Hey guys, welcome back. It's been kind of busy. There's a lot of strings that I have to change in the shop. So, I've last week's Q&A ran a bit long. So, here's more of it that kind of got included with the rest. Uh, Please like, subscribe, and continue on and enjoy. From Andy D0907. Are there any adjustments that you've made to your build slash methods techniques that facilitate easier repairs down the track? I know some mass produced instruments can cause absolute nightmares with certain operations. No, because I started out my career doing repair. I did repair for a little bit over 10 years solely before I built my first guitar. So I already had a very strong understanding of what made a guitar easy to repair and what made a guitar difficult to repair. And be it finishes, glues, methodologies, little stupid things like sound hole size. Uh, I had a Simplicio double hole model, which is 19 frets with two holes next to the fingerboard. Very cool guitar. I think only 16 were made, 17 were made. It's in the Sheldon Ehrlich's book. So, that said, don't do that. Working with guitars that had a Turnavos or what have you. And I developed a very strong understanding of what worked, what made a guitar eminently repairable. And for me, that came down to French polish, no synthetic finishes, no catalyzed polyurethanes or lacquers or anything like that, because if there's one thing that we can be sure of is that that material is not going to be the same next time that we reorder it, because my father used to use catalyzed polyurethanes, and every time he reordered it, it was a completely different system because of the EPA regulations and desires for cleaner air, which is wonderful, and less pollutants and less chemicals, which is wonderful. I kind of enjoy life, so I don't want to be using materials that are that nasty to me or to my general environment. So that's why everything I use is something that can be or has been consumed, be it high glue, French polish, and olive oil as my general lubricant. As far as the overall construction techniques, wood is going to crack no matter what you do to it unless it's built in perfect humidity conditions and is maintained there, which is getting easier now. Beyond that, just understanding that like some of these big framed guitars, like the Smallman styles, uh, those cannot be repaired in the same way because there isn't enough material. So, because I've seen all those prior to my career as building, no, I haven't made any adjustments, but I already started off with a very good idea of what was fixable and what wasn't. And I've always built with that notion of everything will have to be fixed at some point in time, so let me make it as easy as possible for that repairman, which hopefully isn't me. I hope that works. I determined to use high glue on repairs on guitars that were made with it and any new acoustic guitars I might make. I found fish glue, which is also an animal protein base, but with longer open time and no heat log hassle. What are my thoughts on fish glue? Fish glue is terrible. Basically, it has all of the difficulties of high glue, except that you can kind of buy it pre-made unless you want to take the very smelly step to make it yourself. And the reason I use hot high glue is because it is repairable. You add moisture, add a little bit of heat, and you can do that through either steam or wetting the general area and then applying heat depending on how you work. It will come apart, or with a little bit of mechanical. And once that has been separated, you can also reactivate the existing glue to put it back together. Fish glue is essentially history's tight bond, where it contaminates the surface. It glues to itself better than other glues, like for example tight bond or the modern synthetics. Not necessarily to call out one as bad because they're all bad for this process. They will contaminate the surface so it doesn't grab to anything else well. And it doesn't come apart with heat or steam. So fish glue and rabbit glue and glues of that nature, they're really, really good for things that you don't ever want to come apart. But if you want them to come apart, or have the idea that it may come apart at some point in time, or may need to, I would strongly consider remaining with the hot hide glue. For example, I built a guitar. I installed a pickup into the side as per the customer's request. He ended up not liking the pickup, which is very understandable. But because it had this giant gaping hole in it, I'm actually having to replace the side. And because I put it on with hot hide glue, the side actually came off fairly easily, and I'm replacing the side, putting it back together, found another piece of wood that looks identical, and just making it fit is the hardest part about it, opposed to having to fight with the glue, scrape past the glue itself, and so on. Trust me, stick with the hot hide glue. If you're worried about the temperature control, don't be. A cheap baby bottle warmer from any company that doesn't have an automatic shutoff, or one that has a rheostat or temperature control, that's perfect. They're cheap. They're $30-$40, and using them in my shop, they last 15 years easily, and I fire mine up every day. So get a cheap bottle warmer. The temperature is not difficult. The mixture is not difficult, and you can have all sorts of glues to do a whole bunch of things, but it will make repair more difficult down the road in the future, when somebody says, oh, that person, they used whatever glue on their guitar. I don't want to deal with that because that center seam is going to be difficult to deal with. That brace that came loose is going to be difficult to deal with, and you don't want to take your guitars out of the future repair pool because of glue choices. From How to String a Guitar video, from Phil Cooper 8297. Did you try that 8,296 other times? If so, I appreciate your dedication to it. What do you think of lubricating the nut with graphite powder? I don't like it. If your nut is sticky, go for it, but it may actually just need burnishing. I use a piece of twine and maybe a little bit of automotive rubbing compound, and basically you kind of shoe shine it with the piece of string. It works really, really well, takes off the sharp edges, and makes it a lot easier to work with. As far as lubricating with graphite, or I've seen people take a pencil and color in it, it just looks bad, and for me, some of the guitar, or a lot of the guitar, is appearance. And if you've got all this black goo that comes out of your nut slot from rubbing your pencil on it, it looks bad, and it gets everywhere, and because of the way that those strings are with the windings, they kind of just, they wear it off really, really fast anyway, so you're not really doing yourselves any favor other than making your everything else gross and dirty. The worst ones are when you do it underneath the treble strings, and you've got these clear strings that are essentially acting as these focusing lenses for the graphite powder, and it's not going to lubricate anything really. Chances are, I tend to see this more on bone nuts, on plastic nuts, and the problem is that it's a plastic nut, so you've got the strings that are pulling down into it, creating little ridges inside of the plastic where the windings of the string are pushing down. And so what you have to do is you've got this friction that you have to overcome, so you have a disparity of force between the nut and the tuning roller versus the nut and the saddle. And so, really, just replace your nut. It's a far better upgrade and much easier to keep polished. So please don't use the graphite. It's messy. Marshall, what oil do you use? Aren't you concerned about the oil damaging the wood? Also, interesting. Okay. Anyways, yes, Eros Perlman and I, we tie our strings fairly similarly, and yes, we do come about the same result. Last time I was hanging out with him, we actually talked about this. So, not unintentional, but because we want to make sure that the string is well seated without slipping. What oil do I use? For the most part, I will use 3-in-1 oil, but a generic oil. Not a whole lot, just one drop. If they don't have 3-in-1 oil, Kroil, Kroil, that works really, really well. Some people will use a gun oil or a sewing machine oil, but the problem you have to do only one drop once or twice a year. Okay, not every single time. So I'm not worried about the oil getting onto it because I'm not dousing it all down. I'm not planning to deep fry the headstock with the oil that I'm putting onto it. I'm just putting a slight amount on it to make sure that it's there. And I hope it made it through, but I also, after I tune up the strings and after the oil has formed a film on the surface, I will use a paper towel and blot off the excess oil. So you're not leaving a huge amount of material back. Now, I've had other people mention and say that they use Vaseline or petroleum jelly or whatever. Those are actually a really bad idea because, once they're on there until you get in there and pick out every last bit with a toothpick, which takes a very, very long time. B, because they remain on the head and gears for so long, which seems like a good idea, it actually attracts a lot of dirt and goo. So when you have all that dirt and goo on your guitar, it's actually holding the bad particles on the headstock and accelerating the wear. So petroleum jelly is a bad idea. Using too much oil is a bad idea. One drop every 6 months will not discolor your head. And by one drop, I don't mean, like a drop from space hoping that you get it there. We're talking about, as it comes out, just a little dab onto each spot to control a very light drop, because a little oil will go a very long way. I hope you enjoyed that. I do this just because I really, really enjoy it, and it's something to do while I'm changing strings. So if you would please consider helping to support this by going to Patreon, I really appreciate it. And please continue asking these questions because I really enjoy it. By being able to respond directly to you in this fashion, I think it'll help us build a better community. Until next time, keep building.